For almost a decade, the Airbus A220 had never lost a single airframe. With nearly 500 delivered and close to 2 million flights, over 100 million passengers were carried safely, while the type's hull loss remained blank. That changed in a maintenance hangar in Riga, and the story behind it is stranger than you might expect, because the aircraft that ended that streak was not brought down by pilot error, structural failure, or runway overrun. It was destroyed by its own ozone filter. Here at Swiss Flight Signal, this one is personal. Swiss International Airlines was the original launch customer for this aircraft back when it was still called the Bombardier CSeries, and we have been following this type since day one. This is the story of Alpha Oscar, the first A220 ever written off. To understand why this hull loss matters, you need to understand what the A220 actually is, because this aircraft almost never made it to production. The program started life inside the Canadian Bombardier in 2004 as a feasibility study for a clean sheet design, targeting the 100 to 150 seat market, a segment that Boeing and Airbus had essentially abandoned to focus on larger single-aisle jets. Bombardier saw an opening, but finding an engine proved difficult. Both CFM International and International Aero Engines were skeptical about the market projections and left the table. By January 2006, Bombardier shelved the whole thing, announcing that market conditions could not justify a launch. A small team was kept on to refine the business case, and by 2007 the project was back, this time with Pratt Whitney's brand new geared turbofan as the exclusive power plant. That was a bold combination, a completely new airframe mated to a completely new engine architecture. The program formally launched at Farnborough in July 2008, with a letter of interest from Lufthansa for 60 aircraft, 30 of which were destined for its subsidiary, Swiss International Airlines. Swiss was not just any customer. Lufthansa's group order in 2009 was the catalyst that gave the program commercial credibility, and Swiss would go on to become the worldwide launch operator. The first CS-100, registered Hotel Bravo Juliet Bravo Alpha, was delivered at Mirabel in June 2016, and Swiss flew it commercially on the 15th of July from Zurich to Paris Charles de Gaulle. The larger CS-300 entered service with airBaltic that December, configured with 145 seats on a Riga to Amsterdam route. Both airlines reported fuel burn and dispatch reliability that beat the brochure numbers. The aircraft worked. Passengers liked the cabin, pilots liked the handling, and the economics were coming in better than promised, which is not usual. But none of that was saving Bombardier. The company had spent over $7 billion developing this aircraft, far more than originally planned, as usual, and orders were trickling in too slowly to cover all these costs. To put that in perspective, Bombardier needed hundreds of sales just to break even, and by the time Swiss and airBaltic were flying the first deliveries, the total order book was still well under 300. The company was running out of road. Then things got even worse. In April 2016, Delta Airlines placed an order for 75 CS-100s, which should have been a lifeline. Delta was a major American carrier, and a deal that size would have given the program the credibility and volume it desperately needed. But Boeing saw it differently. Boeing did not build anything in the 100-seat category at the time, yet it filed a trade petition with the United States government alleging that Bombardier was selling the CSeries to Delta at unfairly low prices, essentially below cost. Boeing wanted a 300% import tariff slapped on every CSeries entering the United States. For Bombardier, this was an existential threat. If the company could not sell into the American market, the largest aviation market in the world, the program was effectively finished. No amount of European orders from Swiss or airBaltic could make the numbers work on their own. And that is where Airbus stepped in. In October 2017, Airbus acquired a controlling 50.01% stake in the CSeries program. The deal was straightforward in its logic. Airbus had a final assembly line in Mobile, Alabama, which meant CSeries aircraft built on American soil would not be subject to Boeing's proposed tariffs. Overnight, Boeing's trade case lost its teeth. The tariff was eventually struck down anyway, but by then the partnership was already done. The CSeries was rebranded as the Airbus A220 in July 2018, and orders started coming in at a pace Bombardier had never managed on its own. The Airbus name, the Airbus sales network, and the Airbus service guarantees gave airlines the confidence to commit. Bombardier, meanwhile, walked away from the program entirely by February 2020, selling its remaining stake for $591 million. The aircraft that Bombardier had spent nearly 2 decades developing now belonged to Airbus. And under Airbus, orders accelerated. By March 2026, 949 firm orders have been placed from 34 customers, and 493 aircraft were already delivered. Delta alone operates 84, making it the largest A220 customer in the world. airBaltic has 53. Unlike most airlines, the entire scheduled fleet consists of nothing but A220-300s. Alpha Oscar, or the full registration Yankee Lima Alpha Alpha Oscar, was delivered new from Airbus Montreal facility in March 2019. It was one of airBaltic's earlier A220s, configured with 148 seats in a single-class layout and powered by 2 Pratt Whitney PW1500G engines, and it carried the name Jelgava after a city in southern Latvia. By September 2024, the aircraft had been pulled from service and placed into storage at Riga. Like many in the airBaltic fleet, it was grounded because its Pratt Whitney geared turbofan engines required premature inspections that the manufacturer simply could not keep up with. It sat there for nearly 9 months. Corrosion in internal components, cracking linked to powder metal manufacturing defects, and premature wear had been forcing engines into early maintenance across the global fleet of the CS. By late 2025, roughly 22% of all A220s were grounded because of these engine issues. airBaltic sent Alpha Oscar through heavy maintenance at Riga International Airport in the first half of 2025, preparing it for a return to the line. On the 14th of June, engineers completed the work and began standard post-maintenance procedures, which included a ground run of the APU. This is a routine step before an aircraft is released back into service. During that ground run, a fire broke out in the center fuselage section. Maintenance crews evacuated and no one was injured. Investigators later traced the origin to the ozone filter, a component of the environmental control system that converts ozone from outside air into breathable oxygen before it reaches the cabin. The resulting heat damage to the fuselage structure and the wing root was severe. The aircraft sat in Riga for months while insurers and Airbus engineers assessed the damage. In December 2025, Airbus Engineering formally concluded that restoring Alpha Oscar was not economically viable. The A220's lightweight composite construction, which is one of its greatest efficiency advantages, works against you in a fire scenario like this, because once thermal damage reaches load-bearing composite structures, you're often looking at the full section replacements rather than patching. airBaltic received a $33.4 million insurance payout for the aircraft, but after accounting for the write-down and ongoing lease costs, the airline still took a net hit of 6.2 million euros. What makes this story more than a single maintenance incident is the context surrounding it. Alpha Oscar was in storage because of engine problems. It was undergoing heavy maintenance because of engine problems. And the global A220 fleet that this loss now statistically belongs to has been dealing with engine problems since at least 2023. airBaltic canceled 4,670 flights for the summer 2025 because Pratt Whitney could not supply enough spare engines. Swiss, the launch customer, grounded its entire A220-100 fleet in late 2025 to cannibalize their engines for larger A220-300s. Egyptair gave up on the type entirely, selling all 12 of its aircrafts to Lesser Azora, and at least one of these former Egyptair frames was stripped for parts in Arkansas by Delta Material Services, making it the first A220 ever deliberately parted out. And then there is the Swiss Flight 1585 incident. On the 23rd of December 2024, a Swiss A220-300 operating from Bucharest to Zurich suffered an engine failure and severe cabin smoke event at cruise altitude. The crew diverted to Graz in Austria, and one cabin crew member, a 23-year-old flight attendant, lost consciousness before landing. He was airlifted to hospital and died on the 13th of December from brain damage. That was the first fatal accident of the A220 history and the first fatal accident in Swiss International Airlines history since the airline was rebranded in 2002. So the A220 sits in a complicated place right now. The airframe is genuinely excellent. Passengers like the wider cabin with 2-3 seating. Pilots appreciate the fly-by-wire handling and the cockpit visibility, and the economics on paper remain compelling, with roughly 20% lower fuel burn per seat than the aircraft it replaced. But the engine that powers every single A220 in the world has been the source of almost all the trouble, and there is no alternative power plant available. Oscar was 6 years old when it burned. It had carried the name of a Latvian city across Europe on hundreds of flights, and it was weeks away from returning to service when an ozone filter ended its career on the ground. For the A220 program, this first hull loss is a statistical footnote more than a safety crisis. One aircraft destroyed in a ground fire after nearly a decade of commercial operations is not the kind of record that should worry anyone. But it arrives alongside engine groundings and fleet exits and a fatal smoke event that together paint a more complicated picture of an aircraft that was designed to be the future of regional flying, but keeps getting held back by what it's bolted to its wings. While Jelgava will never fly again, the fleet it left behind is only getting stronger. Just last month, airBaltic welcomed its 54th A220. It's a clear sign that the airline is not backing down. The model remains the backbone of the network, and the only question now is whether Pratt & Whitney can finally deliver the reliability this airframe deserves.